Hey, Aztecman. And what's my favorite species? You're enjoying Draconian. I used to enjoy Draconians a lot. I like the flexibility as well as the need to kind of deal with whatever color you end up getting. Sometimes it can be really annoying that you're building straight fire and then you turn into an ice dragon, but it makes for a fun little twist and a bit of an interesting interaction for sure. My favorite species would probably have to be Gnoll. I'm a huge fan because, I mean, I just mentioned flexibility there, and if we're talking about flexibility, it's gotta be Gnolls. And Deep Elf, of course. Sorry, yeah, Gnolls are just below Deep Elf. Of course, of course. But okay, here we go. Let's, we could just go straight for the Fear Scroll. We could try and get lucky here. Drop a Petrify. Petrify at least has decent odds. Actually, I don't even think that's true now that I say it out loud. 40%? Actually, maybe I'd say decent. Might be a little bit optimistic, shall we say, but it's something. So our options here, we could Fear Scroll, get them to run away. Lignification gets us to a nice armor class, so it's very likely that we won't take too much damage here. And we only have 2 Fear Scrolls, so I think I will actually take this route. Hopefully we don't take too much damage. The extra health also doing absolute wonders. And there we go. That allows us to keep some of the more important things in life going here. Keep those Fear Scrolls for when we desperately need it in the future. And is it time to start training fire magic? Where's statue format? Where are you at, friend? 9%? It definitely is. Absolutely fantastic. You like Formicid for how strong their melee is, but escapes suck? That's true, actually. Formicid rank really high on my list as well, because I enjoy species that, again, kind of change the paradigm, or the paradigm rather. So Formicids very much change the way you play, and you have to get a lot more critical about like each and every fight. Can I survive this? Is this something I should take? Or do I have to just bail early on since there won't be any teleportation to yoink me out at the last second? I feel like I'm really bad for relying on blink scrolls, when sometimes it's a better idea to think ahead and just actually try and come up with preventative measures rather to avoid those issues. Similar to why I really like Chabriados worshippers as well. It's a similar kind of mechanic at play there. I should also definitely give an honorable mention to Genies, because they were an absolutely fantastic addition to the game. And those ones probably fall a little bit more under the Draconian thing, where it forces you to be a bit more adaptable and to change as your spell list grows, and you can come up with some really cool things. You can discover spells that you've never used before that are actually pretty fun, if not actually a viable thing to potentially bring into runs in the future, and I definitely value that a whole lot. I think that's awesome. So Mist, you mentioned that, yeah, Knoll of Ashen'Zari is exactly the combo. That's the killer there, for sure. Just absolutely incredible. You don't really get how to use Black Draconian Breath. It's hard to aim and very loud. I don't think, in my recent return to the game, I've not gotten a Black Draconian at all, so I'm definitely completely out of the loop and don't recall whatsoever what it's like, so I'll have to take your word for it, and maybe we'll see in the future if we ever end up going back to Draconian. We can cross our fingers and hope that we can experiment with that and get a bit of a tell as to what you're going through there. Genie is nice, simplifies spellcasting a lot. Yeah, right, it's good for beginners as well as experienced players. I feel like it kind of balances or straddles the two really nicely, which is awesome. I go Gozag often on Deep Elf. No, definitely would like to. I mean, this time I take no credit or blame because fortunately we just lucked out with a Fated Altar of all things. This was our pure random run with Wanderer and Fated Altar start, and I mean, I'll take it. I'm definitely not complaining whatsoever because you are right. If I could take Gozag with every character and not have it grow stale whatsoever, I probably would. And also, hi. Hey to you as well, Prince Cosmo. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Thanks for dropping on by. Is the electricity one? For which there, Colgate? Not too sure what you're referencing there. I'm probably just missing something though. That seems to be the general trend most of the time. You're always kind of scary. Oh, apparently not this time though. Never mind. Goliath Frog. More like... that joke doesn't make sense. I was gonna say more like David Frog, but David is famously stronger than Goliath, so maybe it's more so that I'm the David here. I'm also not exactly the most knowledgeable person when it comes to biblical stories, so who knows? Could just be off base all across the board. Oh, Black Draconian is the electricity one. Ah, okay, so I was definitely just missing something minor there. Holy moly. I thought I misclicked there, had to check where my fingers were pressed, because like, did I just miscast something and blow up? But the instant we started auto-exploring, Bloated Husk came around the corner. How about that? Not the best surprise. And it was Celebrimbor's birthday, too. So unthoughtful. But let's immediately ID this potion. Cancellation. Love to see it. Definitely grab that. You have a Black Draconian right now. Its breath is good for up-close combat. Okay, so yeah, you can get over that inability to aim by just using it as a bit more of a, almost like the shotgun approach. That's awesome. Thanks for mentioning that, seeing as how, yeah, was no help whatsoever. I appreciate it. That's the lovely thing, is chat's always around to pick up the slack when I'm not able to, so absolutely adore you all for it. Thank you kindly. Probably shouldn't have actually done that last irradiate and saved it for fighting the alligator here in just a moment, or not. Never mind, alligator is not gonna pursue. I mean, guess they got a little bit too distracted by the piles of gold, which I'm curious what alligators here in the swamps have to spend it on. Also, why did I let myself get contaminated again? Have I not learned from my mistakes? But I'm curious, yeah, there must be some alligator-specific shops. Maybe they're under the water and that's why our characters never come across them. Gotta keep an open mind about these things, right? Who am I to definitively declare the use of coins for an alligator? Maybe they're just something to suck on, a bit of a lozenge or something like that too. Hey, Hall Catch Fire, lovely to see you. Always nice to see new people around. You just got your first win using Torment Ignition strategies on the Royal Jelly, and you used it on the human run, or that I used on the human run. Awesome. Worked like a charm. I love to hear it. Absolutely fantastic. No, Tormented Ignition is just so strong against the Royal Jelly. Ignition in general, it falls off a bit in the more recent versions of the game because Rock Slimes become slightly more problematic, but very awesome. You threw in a mid-air Orb Destruction for good measure. Thanks for the idea. No problem whatsoever. That's my dream, is that some of the things that I've done here can help people out, whether it be little tips and tricks that I've picked up over the time, or more likely showing off the worst possible moves you can make in any given situation so that you can, you know, not do those things. But it's definitely heartwarming to hear that I'm helping out new players. I appreciate it. But huge congratulations on your first win. That's always a fantastic milestone. And definitely something to be proud of. Took me a long time of playing this game. Fairly casually, and I was pretty dumb as a child, or as a teenager I should say, so that probably played a role. But happy to hear it, nonetheless. Alligators spend the money on potion petitions? Oh, it all makes sense, of course. Gozeg is the best deity in the dungeon, so why wouldn't alligators also be following them? Should have thought of it sooner, it's so obvious in hindsight. Jivia, is your favorite Royal Jelly strat? The pacifist style? Ooh, wait, is this a second? That's a second Thorn Hunter. How about that? Well, we were already terrified of one. I guess this is Swamp 4 now that I realize it. Hey, that's something I should probably be paying a bit more attention to. This is where things potentially start spinning off the rails. We can pop out of view here, drop a Fulminant Prism, walk away. Did not kill you, but that's fine. This is slightly more manageable of a pull effect. And this time around, I guess the flip side of being exceptionally afraid of these Sons of Guns is that we do have Fireball around now. And since we're actually training fire magic, we should also have it castable. Yeah, 3% failure rate. Awesome. So maybe, just maybe, we can output enough damage here that it won't become quite as sketchy of a situation as it did last time. Ghouls also around. This is going to be an interesting swamp 4. That is terrifying. So, let's kill you. And then leave. Immediately head in the opposite direction. Fantastic. Fade away prism shot, exactly. And hey, Egley, hope your weekend's going well. Every once in a while, I see an acronym that I know, and like in this case, it's MCC, which I mean, just earlier in the stream, my brain was able to reconcile, but for whatever reason, it just broke this time around. But Maxwell's capacitive coupling is your second favorite strat for the Royal Jelly, just one-shot it. That's the thing. I love the consistency of the like Torment Ignition, Torment Immolation strats, all those good ones. But there's definitely something to be said for having a stealth character that just one-shot stabs the Royal Jelly like our Kobold did. That was probably my top Royal Jelly strat of all time. Not that it's necessarily something I want to repeat in the future, since as soon as they died, we were just absolutely surrounded, completely and totally ambushed by all the jellies spawning out of the dead corpse. So that was terrifying on a little squishy kobold friend. But besides that, it was pretty cool, I gotta admit. So probably won't be able to resist the urge if we do see it again in the future. But we came upstairs here, and what I was thinking is that we should get around to actually pulling statue form into the mix here. You went down to or up to 13%. Got worse, rather, to 13%. Why is that? What did we change here? Oh, we might have been in tree form when we checked that last, so it wasn't worrying about any like armor checks or anything like that. 12% still isn't the end of the world, or 12 or 13, whatever it was. Oh, it's a complete steel trap of a memory here. Absolute genius. 13% though isn't too bad for something that's a toggle effect like this, where it should last a while. We don't need to keep casting this and have it be a consistent thing. But I think we will, even though we'll start using it now, we will probably train just slightly more. I'm thinking transmutations. It's a bit harder to level up, seeing as how it's already up to 12, but it also very much benefits the irradiation side of things. So that's a nice little bonus to add on top. That seems lovely. So now we'll have to read an amnesia. And what do we get rid of? I think it's still Petrify. I should probably get rid of Manifold Assault. That's very much just a pet project because it's such a fun spell, but this character is not really able to take full advantage of it. We'll just kick that can down the road for a bit here. Let's start with Petrify, on the condition that it gives us enough spell levels. That's the other important part. It definitely does. So we can try this once more here. Let's get rid of Petrify, and immediately we'll learn statue form, and that should be an absolute lifesaver and game changer. The only other thing to do now in that regard is to double check our macros here. Z capital M. So use the equal keys to change our spells here, change statue form to capital M. So now that's on a nice quick cast key. Can always bring it back out in our time of need. Fantastic. This should be an alright encounter as well. We'll get these fireballs going here. I think that's a good blind shot. Fantastic. Oh gosh, that's a lot of attention. One more cast should kill the Thorn Hunter. Slightly riskier than I might otherwise have liked. And we're definitely getting the heck out of there. Oh me oh my. Is that stairwell? No good. No bueno, unfortunately. But with statue form online now, we're a bit more readily able to take care of these buddies while we wait for our mana to recharge. That's fantastic. And we'll just have to find a bit of a better spot to go down. In fact, Let's not make this mistake again, shall we? Saw a bunch of Hydras, some Dragons, some Sprigans. I'd kind of like it if this was our good old friend Lerny, because we have a Phantom Mirror, so that's a one-stop shop solution to just absolutely annihilate that son of a gun. Or rather, let them annihilate themselves, which, as we've mentioned a few times over the course of this series, is just the best way to take care of any enemy in the game. But this stairway is probably going to be our next best bet. Still terrifying with those ghouls around. In fact, let's maybe take another peek at them just to make sure. 30 damage twice. We have 30 AC in statue form, so that's not bad. If we fight them one at a time, we can probably just irradiate them into oblivion. But it's going to be a rough one. During your Strange Hand run, you used Lightning Bolt with BVC for the first time. Bjorn used Vile Clutch, I believe. It's very nice to one-hit KO the enemies into double zappable positions, or to lock them into zappable positions and make Lightning Bolt hit. Definitely. Also made it an accuracy from Amulet of Air not matter. Nice, that's fun. Does this character have the deterioration mutation? Yep, we do, unfortunately. It's gonna be rough. You've only seen ghouls in Crypt. Is that a vault? Yeah, I am in a similar boat. Crypt. I feel like I've maybe seen them in depths before in very specific vaults, though I could be misremembering there. Similar with like vaults in a specific vault. Just make that sentence as clear as possible, not at all confusing. But it very well might be. I mean, you never know really what to expect on Swamp 4. It is the end of the road and where things generally start to take a turn for the most terrifying. My Spriggan friend here, I almost don't want to start throwing out fireballs because they're a little bit louder than I feel comfortable with. Let's just take you upstairs. Make sure we're playing this as safely as possible. No need to risk it all here for no reason whatsoever. Just because I want to hit two of these buddies at once. Step away from the trees. There we go. Fantastic. Where are them ghouls at? Jeez Louise. Absolutely terrifying. At least with statue form now, Hydras are so much more manageable than they were even just a few minutes ago. 7-headed Hydra would have been an immediate deal breaker back then. Even running back up the stairs there might have been the doom of it all for us, so that is fantastic. I also didn't wait quite long enough for our mana recharge there. 5-headed Hydra, once again, not as much as a problem. Generally having over like mid-20s in AC is where you really start to see the depreciation, because that way most of your rolls, you know, even if you're rolling in the top half of possible armor class rolls, you're pretty much negating all the damage from each individual head, so that's beautiful. I'm glad both these swamp worms are together as well, because that means that we don't have to worry about a chain reaction. That's one of the most rough things that can happen to you in this game. When you get tugged up here, tugged to the side, tugged directly into the most terrifying vault of your life. Anytime we can avoid that is probably a pretty dang good day. So you do love to see it. You could also come this way, my friend. Perfect. We'll keep statue form on even while we rest, just in case. And at the end of the day here, Manifold Assault almost just becomes a nice solid way to ensure that we can pull attention from enemies. Even though maybe I want to check on that. How loud is Manifold Assault? Oh, it's a bit loud. That's actually worse than I thought. We don't need it, but it's generally nice to have a quiet spell around that you can use to, you know, pull that one enemy. Make sure that they're the only one that's coming crawling your direction, but it is what it is. Now there's a Bunyip waiting for us. With statue form, we can negate a lot of that damage. Still scary. We'll hopefully just take you out in a couple of radiates, or a few is fine as well. Guess can't complain when you're still living and breathing at the end of the day. That's all that really matters. You love how the trunk commit that increased consumable generation rates also was named the mummy nerf. Oh, that's really clever, yeah. Very cute. Especially since at the end of the day, mummy nerf is just your average Tuesday, I feel. Especially when they got rid of food, I know that that's something that a lot of people complained about. But at the end of the day, I mean, generally, if I'm playing a mummy, it's kind of because I want a little bit of pain in my life. Want to have a bit of a hard time. And besides, free Ozakubu's refrigeration is just super overpowered, right? So it's all fair. It all works out at the end of the day. Okay, and here we go. Ghoul friends. Even waiting a turn takes a turn and a half, hey? What's up with that? I can't exactly afford to fight a ghoul and an 8-headed Hydra, so I guess this is our only real recourse at the moment. Well, maybe I just have to swap over to this other stairwell and try and reset. I want just one ghoul, please. Oh, only one noticed us this time, so that's better. And we can even get a free hit in while they approach. Okay, that Poland Prism is taking a while. There we go. Then we immediately sprint away upstairs. Still afford one more. Now I'd like not to contaminate myself back into mutation status, but you can see why we're terrified of these ghouls here. That is no good whatsoever. Unfortunately, there's still one more to chunk through, so we'll keep dancing back and forth here for the moment. Maybe, just maybe, notice me? There you are. Hello, friend. This time do we want to go Fireball instead, maybe? That way we don't have to wait for the explosion, still gets a bit of damage down. Take you upstairs immediately. Oof. That is painful. 30 damage twice though, so even if we rolled the absolute garbage on our AC, we're not one hit away. We're pretty dang close to killing them too. Probably just go for the Irradiate. Fantastic. Well, that would be nice if those were the only two Undead Sons of Guns lying around, right? They're way more terrifying this early than Encrypt. They're popcorn Encrypt, right? When you're dealing with a bunch of liches, both ancient and regular variety, no problem whatsoever if something's just chunking away at a bit of your flesh, right? But absolute nightmare here. Especially just the health total for, you know, relative to a lot of the things that we're facing at this stage in the game. Means that we're chunking through a lot of mana just to get through to them. Excuse me. I only ordered the 2 ghouls. I don't appreciate the third one being added on for free. I know they say never to say no to free stuff, but in this case, I would like to make an exception. At least this one went way smoother, got a lot luckier in those rolls, so I don't have to be terrified for my life, so that's nice. Very, very nice of you, game, to give me that brief moment of respite amongst all the terrifying things here. And let's see. I'm almost curious how much of this group we pulled away. Doesn't look like too much. We did fight one Spriggan Shaman. Bought a couple of Hydras, but I'm worried that they're not the same Hydras. So there's probably still a heck of a lot of terrifying stuff awaiting us here. Speaking of which, hello, my Hydra pal. Just you alone, not exactly the end of the world. And I mean, the real bonus to this entire trip is that not only are we increasing our skills at a pretty decent rate, really focusing down trying to get ignition on as soon as possible here, we are also finally re-upping our bank account here, because after buying a bunch of stuff at the end of Orc 2 and needing to use Potion Petition a few more times than I wanted to at the moment, we're sitting in a much better place for the future. But if just you could come with... Nope, that's fine too. I almost chopped away with my axe, but that's not a good decision. Let's make good choices here. Bit dangerous to be surrounded by 2 Hydras, but again, with this armor class we should be okay, and it allows us to just quickly throw down some irradiation, make sure we're completely ruining both their days at once, and you do love to see it. I'm also curious, where's statue form sitting at now? 6% when we're in statue form. But if we end transformation, let's not evoke invisibility by accident. 11%. That's not too bad. Again, let's try not to find ourselves in a situation where we need statue form on this turn or else we're dead. Oh, Doggo's very upset about something. Also, this is not what we wanted to see here. Shambling Mangrove. Not exactly ideal. Always hate the constriction, unfortunately. What else are we dealing with? Just a few Dragon Pals, at least isn't the end of the world. We'll keep stepping away and just letting things catch up to us slowly. Seeing as how we're in statue form and occasionally, well, I expected us to fail occasionally with the constriction. Apparently we got a bit lucky in that regard. And let's head up. Because hey, statue form is gone, so now's not the time to test our luck and see how it goes, right? So instead just escape, reset this fight, and go into this with an open mind. We're dealing with our Shambling Mangrove. Probably can go down in a few fireballs. I don't really want to get it next to us, so that option flies out the window. But even if we can just kill both these swamp drakes at once... Oh, you know what? Actually, we could potentially try and lure you to the stairs, and then Irradiate does the trick. I was terrified of fighting you in close quarters combat, but that might actually just be our best bet at this point. So, let's pop up here real quick. Wait out a few turns, get rid of that contamination. Okay, never mind. You are not a very friendly Shambling Mangrove, apparently. And there we are. Much better. And Irradiate sure is wonderful for when those hornets come crawling out of the branches. Okie dokie, not too shabby here. We're slowly chunking our way through Swamp 4. Nothing too unreasonable yet, so I think we'll hopefully be able to make it through in one piece. No promises, of course, but we'll see here in a sec. And we're also up to 8.5 in fire magic, so probably a ways off. Yes, still at 100% failure rate. Understandable, to be expected. I was hoping to see different, but wistful thinking doesn't exactly make the cut most of the time in this game. We can definitely afford to Irradiate once more. Fantastic. And immediately reset this. Probably had enough going on there to take care of the Hydra themselves, but you definitely don't want to have something come crawling in after the fact. Another Thorn Hunter, another Shambling Mangrove, or anything to that extent. Please no. So let's play it safe rather than sorry, shall we? And I should have done so the same there, but here we are. Decided to risk it that time for whatever reason. Whoopsie daisies. What's my plan for Liurnian Hydra if they're here? Phantom Mirror is the one-stop shop for Liurni. In my experiences, I think I've probably used Phantom Mirrors on Liurni like 5 or 6 times total. I think every single time the Liurnian Hydra has died in that turn. Like, you don't even get an opportunity to see what happens. You cast the Phantom Mirror, 27 attacks all go off at once, and it's over. Fight finished. So, mostly just hoping that we get the usual luck in that regard and that things shake out nicely. We'll have to see, of course, but generally is a fairly safe bet, as long as you have that in your pocket. Once Liurni one-shot your Phantom? Oh no, I didn't even think about it. Of course, it makes so much sense. Maybe read Torment first just to be safe? Definitely could. It's one of those interesting things where... Whoops, accidentally irradiated nothing for a moment there. Where it's a tough call to make because I hate weakening something before I Phantom Mirror it, but if the Phantom Mirror ends up in the case that Star Polemic just mentioned there, probably would be a good idea to have them at half health beforehand. I mean, at least with our statue form, we can maybe survive a turn next to Liurni, but I'm not gonna... Don't you worry, I'm not gonna try my odds in that regard. No need to get too cocky about things when we're finally seeing some more progress on Deep Elf here. Swamp Worm is not ideal at the moment. Not as bad if they walk away. Oh, and a Thorn Hunter. What a fun confluence of events here. The excitement continues. So fun. Not at all terrifying. Ooh, do not pull me into that plant. That hurt quite badly. Don't think it was the plant alone, it's also the 2d13 harpoon shot, something like that. Not the greatest. Oh, definitely need to go back into statue form. There's our problem. Bye Susan is here. Okay, so I was coming up with all these plans for Lyran and Hydra, but apparently we have other problems at the moment. I'm gonna start by reading the teleport. Oh gosh, that's not who we wanted to see here at the moment. Well, huh. Who's Susan? Oh, don't worry, she's just leaving. And yikes indeed. Have I met Bye before? Definitely have. Usually in a bit of a better circumstance. I feel like this Swamp 4 is really pushing the boundaries as to what is normally acceptable to find. But hey, we'll get through this in one piece. We'll work together. As long as we don't get teleported like here, or ideally not into here, that might be terrifying. But look, lots of real estate to go, and only most of it is frightening. That's better than we could really ask for. I guess other than teleporting, we could have tried to fight our way through to these stairs, but would have been a rough go at things. Regardless here, unfortunately. Kind of does its own lair Hydra with many small Hydras, right? All she has to do is summon, what, like 3 of them, 4 of them, and you have a 21 to 28 headed Hydra. But okie dokie. What do we wish to do in the meantime while we wait for this teleport scroll to pop? We could immediately potion petition if we really are scared here, which, don't get me wrong, I am kind of scared, but I'm not quite at that level yet. Can maybe wait 1 turn to see how things shake out. Alternatively, we could throw out a condenser vein early on and just hope that a few of these monsters die by proxy as it goes. And I don't hate that, so I think I will. Noxious fumes is not what we were hoping for, though. That's a real shame. Well, statue form is about to pop, or teleport rather is about to pop. There we have it. Ooh, and we end up in probably the safest place we could have been. You know, besides just on top of one of these stairwells, but let's not look at the gift horse in the mouth here. At the end of the day, I can't complain that we end up in the opposite side of the map at the very least from that entire fiasco. We'll just use our axe for now while we build up some of our magic points again, just in case we do get ambushed here. Always better to be safe than sorry. And let's pop back in. Oh, is there no way back to the stairs here? How about that? I mean, there is one way. But do I want to try and sneak in for the rune? Okay, we'll probably end up taking this magical path back, but for now I'm going to learn apportation, and I'm going to see where's the entrance to this little area. Is it a top entrance? Not necessarily, hey? And again, we're far enough away here that we at least don't have to worry too much about noise, so that's nice. And you know, I read your comment, Colgate, but you are being good there, and my dumb brain just blanked and I couldn't even think about it. But right, get rid of the Hydra summons. And that's exactly it, Eggly. Yeah, we're gonna burn the whole place to the ground, but I'm hoping to do it on my escape here. So let's try and take care of these sons of guns first. Is this worth it? Oh, the entrance is at the bottom? That is too bad. That's real rough. How strong is this wall? Yeah, only the mightiest of magics, which unfortunately is not something at our disposal at the moment. Okay, we might just have to walk out of this one for now and come back at a later date. Book of the Tundra. Let's check it out. Yep, probably not going to be using that at all, but still cool. I always like to expand our repertoire of books here. So of course, much like how you can carry around like 500 stones all just sitting in your pocket at once. Our character also, you may be remiss to get that we don't actually read these books and just memorize the whole thing and put it down. We're actually carrying like 17 books on our back right now. I mean, you wouldn't think it would be possible with only 5 strength, but if you look at us now. Also, if you have been playing this game for a while, you'll remember when that was actually a thing, carrying around spell books and needing to have the room in your inventory. Pretty happy that that's no longer the case, if we're being honest here. And hey Railbird, how's it going? Hope you're having a great weekend here. Nice to see you, as always. Hope your fire elementalists have been healthy lately, and making it through in one piece. That's all we can really ask for. Fortunately, player ghosts can't have MCC. Oh, can you imagine? It'd be pretty fun to make a ghost with it. That'd be the scourge of like online servers. You'd have players that were just constantly building up strong characters, making them learn Maxwell's capacitive coupling, and then purposely getting them killed so that they'd just be an absolute menace for any players coming through in the future. Because there was a while that was happening. I'm trying to remember what the combo was. It was... Oh, what was it? But a while back, there was a go-to combo that started flooding the online servers. And people just kept making these characters and killing them off in the early, like mid to late part of the dungeon. And it was just a bad time for everyone involved because they were specifically built to be a tough ghost to fight. They really thought about it and came up with the best strategy to completely ruin your day at any given opportunity. Replace Chain Lightning with it on Nicola, same end result. I mean, you're not wrong. What's the difference if it one-shots you regardless, right? Okay, so now's the time to finally commit. Do we just want to leave? I do not like the odds here. So hey, let's do it. We have statue form online now, so we're actually probably alright to go back into Snake Pit. And we can keep kind of leveraging both areas to get our experience down, and then maybe we'll have Ignition up to a good place. I mean, the nice thing about that is that it's even pretty good against By Susan if she brings in a huge army of Hydras. That's just more overlapping fireballs from Ignition. So it kind of works out in our favor, especially since we don't, unfortunately, have the spell levels to learn Yara's. So we're stuck in a bit of a tough bind there. In fact, we don't have the spell levels for Ignition either, and we don't have any Amnesia. Still have a ways to go on that fire magic train, so it's not the most pressing of concerns, I guess. But we'll have to come up with some plan in the future to get that all kicking. There are player ghost rooms and ziggurats. Would be a fun surprise for mega ziggers. Oh my gosh, it'd be an absolute nightmare if you got an entire room full of those bad ones. I feel like they did make a change eventually that at least reduced the prevalence of that kind of playstyle, because it is just a bit of a rough shock, especially for newer players. You know, you come into it, expect to be able to kill a ghost and get absolutely curb stomped immediately. Not exactly the ideal scenario there. Oof. And suddenly took way more damage than I'd like there, so let's just retreat back out, make sure that might effect is gone from our salamander pal. If you could walk this way, that would also be very lovely of you. Okay, fire's not going to do it, so we can't even ignite our poison here, and instead just have to do this. Including completely wasting an irradiate cast. Whoopsie daisies. But there we go. We've at least broken our toehold back in here. We knew we could do it. Absolutely fantastic. Always fun to scroll shop. Definitely, especially now that we're in a better place. Did I just fail? I just failed statue form again. I mean, it is 12%, so I wouldn't expect to get it every time, but still less than ideal here. There we go. We can even fight Black Mambas in actual hand-to-hand combat now, so that's nice. Oh, and we have resistance to electricity from statue form, so that is huge, because I got absolutely terrified for a moment there. But we should actually be okay for taking care of this son of a gun. Well, new players don't go into or well, new players don't probably go zigging, so ghosts are behind rune doors and they can XP them before taking them on. That's true. I guess I'm still stuck in the old days of when you could find player ghosts wandering around, because that's when I think that problem was a bit more prevalent, but you are right that it's not nearly as much of an issue now, because, I mean, the majority of players just never touch those ruined doors, because generally it's really not worth the trouble. Unless you're coming back to it way later in the game when everything is all hunky-dory. Oh gosh. You thought we were saving for new kicks? Oh, it would be nice, wouldn't it? If we could get that sum. It's like just over 4,000, right? Oh, it's tempting. But in order to actually afford those functionally, we probably need like 6,000, 7,000 gold. So we'll see where we stand. I also want a nice little bank account waiting for us for when we get to Zot, and that way we can just bribe our way through. Make all of our problems go away using the most important superpower in the game, the bank account. The strongest of all strategies. And okie dokie, we'll do a quick little detour back upstairs to see our new shoes. Ooh, some white kicks. I mean, that's a bit of a flex, right? You're wandering through the dungeon, murdering all these monsters, and somehow your shoes are still just as fresh as they were in the box. Gotta be worth some amount of cred here, so let's go for it, shall we? And I'm only cheating a little bit by going statue form and removing the possibility of blood spatter completely, right? Oh, fun. Mark trap. This is why we don't invite you to parties, Mark. Well, let's bring our new friends upstairs, I guess. Seeing as how that's the only truly safe way to go about this. In fact, oh, I shouldn't even be standing here. I should have ran up right away because we were kind of drawing enemies towards our only way in and out of the area, which is less than ideal. You generally don't want to create a choke point of danger and fear here. So that's not great. You can always farm ziggurats for many monies. That is true, especially if we have some of these good skills going. Get ignition up and running and all that fantastic stuff and take care of the crowds there. I've definitely learned my lesson a couple times though of trying to push into ziggurats a bit further than I should, because oh boy does it get terrifying real fast. And normally you desperately want to have at least one, but ideally 2 or 3 blink scrolls, so that when things start to turn bottom up, you can just immediately zip your way to the exit and hightail it the heck out of there. So we'll have to see by the time we get to that stage in the game where we're sitting. Oh, and hello, friends. Even with resistance electricity, this is not exactly ideal, but no problems whatsoever. Fantastic. Crawl as a gacha? Oh, definitely. Only it's the weird kind of gacha where if you get too good of a prize, you're immediately starting to panic and like, oh gosh, we're so cursed. It's over. Everything's about to fall to the wayside. But okay, Zool here is definitely manageable. Let's bring in a friend. I mean, I know we only have 6 evocations, but really just larva? That's all we can afford these days? My box of beasts? I guess it is what it is. Let's put down a fulminant prism here. I'm also not very happy with my summon now because I just want to start irradiating. So everyone look away. You're not going to like what we're about to see here. I'm so sorry, my Larvalock Sting Beast. Had to be done. Unforgivable what we just did there, but as long as we survive and get out with the Orb of Zot, all of our sins are washed away, right? That's how it works. Everything horrifying that we did in this dungeon, which, don't get me wrong, not only is that, but also includes all the poor innocent monsters. Innocent, maybe, for some of them. Monsters that we're slaughtering on our way down. Something like that. Don't usually have a problem with that. Ziggurats are usually quite clear about it when you've overstayed your welcome. Right? I think I'm partially biased against it now, because the last time we went juggling through a ziggurat, we had no positive energy in the entire run. So the moment we saw a Tormentor, it was pure panic mode. We were chugging lig potions left and right, just using that to get through a couple of rooms. And then we opened up into a pan floor that did not go well. This was, I think, in my final run of the tournament that I had to do off camera because it was kind of staggered throughout a day. And yeah, I definitely don't want to go through that again. An absolutely terrifying thing, and definitely somewhere where we needed those blink scrolls or that character would have died too. Our atheist Minotaur. Box demands more XP for Evo. Apparently so, unfortunately. In the end, justify all the ugly means. I hope so. I hope so. It'll be worth it. At least we'll get to see our family again, right?